If you want to become strong, do you go to the gym one day and lift heavy weights for 5 hours and then stop for a whole year? No, of course not. You don't do that. You go every day or every other day. You do a little bit, again and again. And slowly, your muscles grow. Learning English works in the same way. It is not about doing a lot one time and then doing nothing for weeks. It is about small, daily steps. That is the power of daily practice. Every little step counts. Every small action builds on the last one. It may feel tiny today, but tomorrow it becomes stronger. And after weeks and months, you will look back and see how far you have come. So in this episode, I will guide you, step by step, into this idea of daily practice. I will show you why it works, how it works, and how you can make it easy for yourself. You don't need stress, you don't need long hours, you don't need to be perfect. You only need to do something every day. Are you ready? Let's begin together. Daily practice is powerful because your brain loves repetition. Think about a baby. A baby does not learn to speak in one day. The baby listens every day. The baby hears words again and again. Mama, Papa, bye-bye. Slowly, the brain remembers. Slowly, the mouth learns. And then one day, the baby speaks. It feels natural. It feels easy. The baby did not study grammar books. The baby did not take long tests. The baby practiced daily with listening and repeating. That is the secret. And you, my friend, are not so different. Your brain still loves repetition. It remembers when you give it the same food again and again. If you hear a sentence many times, if you speak it many times, it becomes part of you. You don't have to search for it anymore. You don't have to translate it in your head. It just comes out. That is what happens when you practice every day. Another reason daily practice works is because it makes English automatic. At first, everything feels slow. You want to say something, but you stop. You think. You translate from your language to English. You are not fast. You are not free. But when you practice every day, something changes. Your mouth begins to learn. Your tongue learns where to move. Your lips learn how to form the words. Your brain sends the message faster. Suddenly you can speak without thinking so much. You can respond. You can say what you want. You don't freeze. You don't wait. You feel free. That freedom comes only with practice. Not one day, but every day. Daily practice also gives you confidence. Confidence means you believe in yourself. At first, you feel shy. You feel nervous. Maybe you don't want to speak because you are afraid of mistakes. But when you practice every day, you get used to English. It doesn't feel so strange. It feels normal. You start to think, I can do this. You see small results. You learn one new word. You say one new sentence. You understand one new phrase. These little things make you strong. Step by step, your confidence grows. Soon, you are not afraid to speak. You are not afraid to try. And this is the real power of practice. It changes not only your skill, but also your mind. Now maybe you are thinking, Ariel, I understand this, but what can I actually do every day? That is a good question. So let me give you some simple ideas. You don't need to do everything. You can choose one. Or you can do more if you want. But do something every day. That is the key. For example, you can listen to English every day, just 10 minutes. It can be a podcast, a short story, or even this channel. You don't need to understand everything. Just listen and catch some words. You can listen while walking, cooking, or cleaning. That is one way. Another thing you can do is shadowing. Shadowing means you listen to one sentence and repeat it at the same time. Like an echo, like a shadow. You copy the speaker's voice, rhythm, and speed. It feels strange at first, but soon it feels fun. You can start with short sentences like, I'm going to the market. Say it with me. I'm going to the market. Good. When you do this every day, your mouth gets used to English sounds. You start to sound more natural. You can also read a short story every day. Just one page, one story, or one short article. Read slowly. Don't stop too much. If you see a new word, try to guess the meaning. Reading helps you see new words and patterns. It makes your English richer. Another daily practice is writing. You don't need to write a lot, just 3 to 5 sentences about your day. For example, today I went to the park. I saw a dog. The dog was happy. I met my friend. We had tea. That's it. Very simple. But when you write every day, you practice grammar, vocabulary, and self-expression. And here is one more daily practice. Talk to yourself out loud. Yes, really. Talk to yourself in English. Nobody needs to hear you. You can say what you are doing. I am cooking. I am washing the dishes. I am putting on my shoes. I am going to work. This may sound funny, but it helps you think in English. It helps you feel more natural when you speak. Now you may ask, Ariel, does this daily practice really work? Let me show you with small steps. After one day of practice, you feel good. You think, I did something today. Maybe you learn one new phrase. Maybe you understand one short sentence better. It feels small, but it is real progress. After 1 week, you have 7 days of practice. That is 7 steps forward. Your brain starts to feel more comfortable with English. You remember more. You don't need to translate everything. You begin to guess meanings, and often you are right. For example, if you read, I'm heading home, maybe you didn't learn it before, but you can guess. Ah, it means, I'm going home. That is real learning. After 1 month of daily practice, something bigger happens. English feels less strange. You are used to it. You know more words. You can say sentences faster. You don't always need the dictionary. You feel more confident. You speak a little more. You write a little more. You listen and understand a little more. It's not magic, but it is real growth. And this growth is because of your daily steps. Daily practice is like planting a tree. You don't see it grow every day, but you water it every day. And one day you look and the tree is strong. The same with your English. You practice daily. You don't see big change today. But one day you realize, wow, I can understand. Wow, I can speak. Wow, I am improving. And that is the power of daily practice. So my friends, now that you understand how daily practice works and why it is important, let's go deeper. Because I know sometimes we want to practice every day, but then life happens. We are busy, we feel tired, or maybe we just forget. And then we stop, and stopping feels bad. Because when we stop one day, it is easy to stop another day, and another. This is normal. Every learner feels this. But don't worry, because the secret is not to be perfect. The secret is to keep coming back. Daily practice does not mean you will never miss a day. No. It means even if you miss one day, you return the next. You don't give up. You don't let one small break become a big break. Think of brushing your teeth again. If you forget to brush once, you don't say, "Oh no, now it is finished, I can never brush again." No, you just brush the next morning. And your teeth are okay. English practice is the same. You miss one day, you come back the next day. That is the power of consistency. Not perfection, but persistence. Now let me show you some ways to make daily practice easy and natural, so it feels less like a heavy task and more like a small joy. One simple way is to connect your English practice to a habit you already do. For example, maybe you drink tea every evening. You can decide that while you drink tea, you listen to 5 minutes of English audio. Or maybe you go for a walk every morning. You can listen to English while you walk. Or maybe you check your phone every night before bed. You can read one short story or article in English before sleeping. This is called habit linking. You take one thing you already do, and you add English to it. When you do this, daily practice feels natural. It doesn't feel like an extra job. It feels like part of your normal life. Another way to make practice easy is to keep it short. Many people think, if I don't study for 1 hour, it is useless. But that is not true. Even 10 minutes is powerful, because 10 minutes every day becomes 70 minutes in a week, and 70 minutes becomes hours in a month, and hours become many, many hours in a year. Imagine if you practiced just 15 minutes every day for a year. That is almost 90 hours. And 90 hours of practice will definitely change your English. So never think 10 minutes is small. 10 minutes is magic when you do it every day. Now let me tell you a little story. One of my friends wanted to learn English. At first, she was very excited. She bought many books. She made big plans. She said, "I will study 3 hours every day." But after 1 week, she felt tired. She stopped. She thought, "I cannot do this. English is too hard." But then she changed her plan. She said, "I will not study 3 hours. I will just do 10 minutes a day, that is all." And guess what? She did 10 minutes every day. Some days she did more, but she never skipped her 10 minutes. After 3 months, she was surprised. She could understand simple conversations. She could read short stories. She could write small messages. She felt confident. She grew slowly, but she grew strong. This is the power of small daily steps. It works better than big plans that break. Now let's think about another important point. Fun. Daily practice must be fun. If you hate what you do, you will not continue. So choose things you like. If you love music, listen to English songs. Try singing them. If you enjoy cooking, watch English recipe videos. If you love travel, read travel blogs in English. If you enjoy stories, listen to short stories or read easy novels. When you enjoy what you do, daily practice is not boring. It becomes exciting. You look forward to it. And when you look forward to something, you do it again and again. That is how habits grow. Now, sometimes people ask me, "Ariel, when will I see results?" This is a good question. Results do not come in one day. You will not wake up tomorrow and speak perfectly, but results will come step by step. After 1 week, you may notice you remember more words. After 2 weeks, you may feel your listening is easier. After 1 month, you may speak with more confidence. And after 6 months, you will look back and think, wow, I am a different person now. The changes are slow, but they are real. And sometimes other people see your progress before you do. Maybe one day your friend says, "Hey, your English sounds better." That is the moment you realize your daily practice is working. Now let's talk about a small trick to keep daily practice strong: tracking your progress. You can make a simple chart or calendar. Every day, write what you did. For example, Monday, listen to a podcast. Tuesday, read one page of a story. Wednesday, wrote 5 sentences. Thursday, shadowed 10 sentences. When you see the chart fill with marks, you feel proud. You feel happy. You see proof that you are moving forward. This small paper can give you big motivation. It shows you that you are serious, and your effort is real. Another trick is to find a partner. If you have a friend who is also learning, practice together. You can agree to send one English message to each other every day. Or you can talk for 5 minutes on the phone. Or you can share what you read or listened to. When you have a partner, you feel responsible. You don't want to miss your practice because your friend is waiting. This responsibility helps you stay consistent. And it also makes learning more fun because you are not alone. But maybe you don't have a partner right now. That is okay too. You can be your own partner. How? By recording yourself. Yes, record your voice every day. You don't need special tools. Your phone is enough. Just record yourself reading a short text or talking for 1 minute. Do this every day. After 1 month, listen to your old recordings. You will be surprised. You will hear how much you improved. Your voice will sound clearer. Your words will come faster. This is strong motivation because you can hear your growth. Now let's imagine together what happens if you practice daily for 1 year. Imagine you start today. You listen, you read, you write, you speak, every day a little. After 1 month, you already feel better. After 3 months, English feels more natural. After 6 months, you can hold simple conversations without fear. After 1 year, you can think in English more often. You can read simple books, watch simple shows, and even speak with new people. You are not perfect, but you are free. And all this came not from one big action, but from many small daily steps. This is the real secret. Success is not one big thing. Success is many small things repeated every day. So my friend, don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for more time. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start today. Start small, even 5 minutes, even 1 sentence, even 1 word. Just start. Because when you start, you build momentum. Momentum means you begin to move, and when you move, it is easier to keep moving. Like a ball rolling down a hill, once it starts, it keeps going. Your English is the same. Once you start daily practice, it keeps rolling, it keeps growing, and you will not stop. Now, my friends, let us go even deeper into the heart of this idea, because I want you to really feel how daily practice changes everything, not only your English, but also your life. Think for a moment about anything important in this world: a tree, a river, even your own body. None of these things are created in one big moment. They are created step by step, little by little. The river flows every day. The tree grows every day. Your body breathes every day. That is how nature works. And when you follow nature, When you copy this slow and steady rhythm, your learning also becomes natural. So daily practice is not just a trick for English. It is the natural way of growth, the same way life itself grows. And when you accept this truth, you no longer feel impatient. You no longer say, "Why am I not fluent yet?" You understand that growth takes time, but with daily care, it will come. This makes you calm, and this calmness helps you keep going. But of course, I know that sometimes you feel stuck. You practice every day and you wonder, am I really improving? This doubt is very common. You want proof, you want fast results. But let me tell you something important. Progress is often invisible. It hides. It works quietly in the background of your brain. You don't see it every day, but one day suddenly it appears. Maybe you are listening to a movie and suddenly you understand a whole sentence without translating. Or maybe you meet a tourist and suddenly words come out of your mouth without fear. In that moment you realize, wow, I really did improve. But that magic moment only comes because of the invisible work you did every day. So don't be fooled by silence. Your daily practice is building strong roots under the ground, and one day the tree will show. Let me share another small story with you. I once knew a man who wanted to play the guitar. At first he practiced 1 hour, then stopped for many weeks. Every time he picked it up, his fingers were slow, his sound was not good. He felt discouraged. Then he tried something different. He decided to practice just 10 minutes every single day. Only 10 minutes. At first, it seemed too small, but slowly his fingers became faster. Slowly, he could play a full song. After 6 months, people listened to him and said, "Wow, you are really good." He laughed and said, "I only practiced 10 minutes a day." But the truth is, those 10 minutes a day were stronger than many hours once in a while. This is the same for English. Many short daily practices are stronger than one long practice that disappears. Now let us talk about how daily practice changes your mind. You see, every day you practice, you send yourself a message. That message says, "I am serious. I am learning. I am moving forward." This message builds your identity. You stop thinking, "I am someone who cannot speak English." You start thinking, "I am someone who practices English every day." And this new identity is powerful. When you believe you are a learner, you behave like one. You search for new words. You listen more carefully. You speak with more courage. Your daily practice is not just about learning skills. It is about building the belief that you are the kind of person who grows. And when you believe that, nothing can stop you. But remember, daily practice does not mean you must always do the same thing. In fact, variety can make it fun. One day you listen, one day you write, one day you read, one day you shadow. You can mix them. That way, you never feel bored. But the key is not what you do. The key is that you do something. You can even rotate your practice. For example, Monday, listening. Tuesday, shadowing. Wednesday, reading. Thursday, writing. Friday, speaking. Saturday, review. Sunday, relax and watch a movie in English. This variety keeps your practice fresh, but the daily rhythm stays the same. Your brain loves this mixture. It gets new input every day, and little by little, all your skills grow together. Now let's think about mistakes. Many people are afraid of mistakes, so they avoid practice. But I want you to see mistakes differently. Mistakes are not a sign of failure. Mistakes are a sign of practice. If you never make mistakes, it means you are not trying. Think of a child again. A child falls many times before walking. Each fall is part of the growth. In the same way, each mistake in English is a step forward. When you practice every day, you will make many mistakes, but you will also learn from them. And when you learn from them, you become stronger. So never let mistakes stop your daily practice. Instead, smile at your mistakes. Say, "Thank you, mistake, you are my teacher." This attitude makes you fearless, and when you are fearless, your English improves faster. Now another thing, daily practice teaches patience. Patience means waiting calmly. In the modern world, we want everything fast. We want fast food, fast internet, fast answers. But real learning is not fast. Real learning takes time. Daily practice helps you accept this truth. Each day you practice, you train your patience. You tell yourself, "I am okay with slow progress. I am okay with small steps." And when you accept this, you feel more relaxed. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop feeling frustrated. You trust the process. And because you trust it, you keep going. And because you keep going, you succeed. Now I want to give you a little picture. Imagine English like a mountain. At the bottom, you feel small, and the mountain looks huge. You want to reach the top, but it feels impossible. If you try to climb it all in one day, you will fail. You will fall. You will get tired. But if you take one step every day, slowly, slowly, you rise. Some days you climb more, some days less, but you never stop. After 1 year, you look back, and the mountain below you is smaller, and you are higher. After 2 years, you are even higher. One day, without realizing it, you are at the top. That is what daily practice does. It makes the impossible mountain possible. Step by step, day by day, you reach the peak. Now let me remind you of something very important. You do not need to feel motivated every day. Some days you will feel excited, yes? But some days you will feel lazy, tired, bored. This is normal. Nobody feels motivated all the time. But you don't need motivation. You need discipline. Discipline means you do it even when you don't feel like it. Discipline means you keep the promise you made to yourself. And the good news is, discipline is easier with daily practice because daily practice becomes a habit. When something is a habit, you do it without thinking, like brushing your teeth. You don't ask, "Am I motivated to brush today?" You just brush. That is what happens when you make English practice daily. It becomes automatic. And once it is automatic, nothing can stop you. So, my friend, think of yourself right now. You are listening to me. You are learning. That itself is a step. You already started your practice today. Tomorrow, take another step. The next day, another step. Do not wait for big changes. Do not wait for magic. Just keep moving. Keep practicing. Keep believing. Because one day, without realizing it, you will be speaking freely. You will be thinking in English, and you will be proud. And when that day comes, you will remember this truth. It was not one big action. It was not luck. It was not talent. It was the power of daily practice. I walked slowly out of the airport and into the bright sunlight. The air was hot and full of sounds, cars honking, people shouting, luggage wheels rolling on the road. I held my small bag tightly and looked around, feeling a little lost, but also excited. This was the first time I had traveled so far alone, and my heart was beating fast. I saw many taxis waiting outside, and some drivers called out to me, asking if I needed a ride. I shook my head and kept walking because I was not sure which taxi was safe. I remembered the advice of my friend, who told me to look for the official taxi line. I finally found the line, and I waited behind a family with 3 children. The children were laughing, and their laughter made me feel a little more calm. When my turn came, I told the driver the name of my hotel. The driver nodded, put my bag in the trunk, and told me to sit inside. I sat down, and the car began to move through the busy city. The streets were full of life. I saw tall buildings, colorful shops, and people crossing the road without fear. Some people were selling fruit on the sidewalk, and others were carrying baskets on their heads. My eyes could not stop moving because everything looked new and interesting. The driver asked me where I came from, and I told him about my home city. He smiled and said, "Welcome to our country." His words were simple, but they made me feel warm inside. As we drove, I thought about the long journey I had just completed, the waiting at the airport, the questions at security, and the many hours sitting in the airplane seat. Now I was finally here, starting a new chapter of my life. The hotel was tall and shining, with big glass windows. I stepped out of the taxi, paid the driver, and went inside. The air inside was cool, and the smell of flowers filled the lobby. I walked to the front desk and gave my name. The lady at the desk smiled and checked my booking. She gave me a card and said, "This is your room key." I took the key, thanked her, and followed the signs to the elevator. The elevator moved fast, and soon I was on the 8th floor. I found my room, opened the door, and stepped inside. The room was simple but clean. There was a bed, a table, a chair, and a window with a view of the city. I put my bag on the bed and sat down. For a moment, I just sat there in silence, listening to the sounds of cars far below. I felt tired, but I also felt strong because I had made it through the airport and the long journey. I washed my face, changed my clothes, and decided to go outside again. I wanted to see the city, not just the inside of a hotel room. I walked down to the street and began to explore. At first, I was careful, looking at every sign, trying not to get lost. The streets were full of people moving quickly, and I had to match their speed. I stopped at a small shop and bought a bottle of water. The shopkeeper smiled and gave me change, and I said thank you. That small act gave me courage. I realized I could survive here, even if my English was not perfect. I walked further and saw a park. Inside the park, children were playing, couples were sitting on benches, and old men were talking loudly. I sat on a bench and watched them. The green trees and fresh air made me feel peaceful. I thought about how different this place was from my home, but also how similar it felt in some ways. People laughed here, just like people laughed at home. Children ran here, just like children ran at home. The world was big, but the hearts of people were not so different. That thought made me smile. As the evening came, the lights of the city began to shine. Neon signs glowed in red, blue, and green. Restaurants were opening, and the smell of food filled the air. My stomach growled, and I knew I needed dinner. I walked into a small restaurant and looked at the menu. The words were strange, and I did not understand everything, but I pointed at one dish that looked nice. The waiter nodded and wrote it down. Soon he brought me a plate of food that smelled amazing. I took the first bite and it was delicious. The taste was new, but it made me happy. I ate slowly, enjoying every bite. I looked around the restaurant and saw families eating together, friends laughing and couples talking quietly. It was a picture of life, and I was now part of it. After dinner, I walked back to my hotel. The streets were still busy, but I was not afraid anymore. I felt more confident with every step. I entered the hotel, went up to my room, and lay on the bed. My body was tired, but my mind was full of images from the day. I thought about the airport again, the long lines, the waiting, the fear of missing my flight. I thought about the moment I stepped into the new city, not knowing where to go, but finding my way. I thought about the first smile from the taxi driver, the kindness of the shopkeeper, the beauty of the park, and the taste of the food. All of these moments came together like pieces of a puzzle, showing me that the journey was worth it. As I closed my eyes, I remembered the reason I had started this journey. I wanted to grow, to learn, to become more than I was before. The airport was just the first test, the doorway I had to pass through. Now that I had crossed it, I felt ready for the challenges ahead. I whispered to myself, tomorrow will be a new day, a new chance. And with that thought, I fell asleep, dreaming of the adventures still waiting for me in this city. I looked at my phone again and the battery was low. I felt worried because I still needed the map and taxi app. I closed all extra apps to save the battery. I put the phone back in my pocket and looked outside. The taxi moved slowly through traffic. Many cars were on the road. Some people crossed the road even when the light was red. The driver honked the horn many times. I held my bag tightly and waited. After a few minutes, the driver asked me which gate of the airport I wanted. I told him the international departure gate. He nodded and drove faster. I saw big signs with an airplane symbol. My heart beat faster because I was near the airport. After 30 minutes, I finally saw the airport building. It was huge and full of lights. Many cars were going in and out. Some people were pulling heavy bags. Some people hugged their families. I paid the taxi driver quickly. I thanked him and got out of the car. I stood in front of the airport. The building was tall and modern. Glass walls reflected the sky. I took a deep breath. My journey to the airport was almost done, but I still needed to check in. I walked towards the sliding doors. The doors opened automatically. Cold air from inside touched my face. It felt fresh and clean. I pulled my bag behind me and entered the hall. The hall was very big. Many lights shined from the ceiling. People moved in different directions. Some people carried passports in their hands. Some people rushed fast. Others sat on chairs and waited. I looked for the airline counter. There were many counters with screens on top. Each screen showed the airline name. I searched for my airline. Finally, I found it. A line of passengers stood in front of the counter. I pulled my bag and joined the line. The line moved slowly. I waited patiently. I looked around while waiting. Families said goodbye with tears. Children waved at their grandparents. Some people were on their phones, talking fast. The smell of coffee came from a small shop nearby. I felt a little hungry, but I decided to check in first. The line became shorter. At last, it was my turn. I smiled at the staff. She asked for my passport and ticket. I gave them quickly. She typed on her computer and printed my boarding pass. She also gave me a tag for my bag. I thanked her and felt relieved. My bag was sent away on a moving belt. I now had only my backpack. I walked away from the counter and checked the boarding pass. It showed my gate number and boarding time. I felt happy. One big step was done. Next, I had to go through security check. I followed the signs. The line for security was also long. People removed shoes, belts, and laptops. I put my things in a tray. The officer asked me to walk through the scanner. The machine beeped once, but the officer waved me forward. I picked up my things and packed them again. I felt a little stressed, but also excited. Now I was closer to the airplane. After security, I walked into the duty-free area. Many shops were shining with bright lights. They sold perfumes, chocolates, clothes, and gifts. Some people stopped to buy things. Some only walked fast like me. I looked at my watch. I still had some time before boarding. I sat down on a chair near the gate. I opened my phone again. The battery was almost finished, but I used it to send a message to my family. I told them I had reached the airport and checked in safely. They replied with good wishes. I smiled and felt calm. I looked at other passengers. Everyone seemed busy. Some talked with friends, some watched their screens, some just closed their eyes and rested. A child ran around and laughed. The mother chased him and told him to sit. I remembered my own childhood when I first saw an airport. Everything looked magical. Now I was traveling alone. Time passed slowly. I waited and waited. Finally, I heard an announcement. My flight was ready for boarding. Passengers for my gate were called. I stood up quickly and held my backpack. I walked to the gate and showed my boarding pass. The staff smiled and scanned it. She said, "Have a nice flight?" I thanked her and walked through the gate. A long tunnel connected the building to the plane. I felt nervous, but excited. I looked outside through the tunnel window. Big planes stood outside. Their lights flashed in the night. Workers loaded bags into the plane. I walked slowly, step by step. My journey to the airport was ending, and my journey in the sky was about to begin. I sat in the waiting room for some time. The air was cool. The lights were bright. Many people walked past me. Some people held coffee cups. Some people pushed luggage carts. Some children laughed. Some babies cried. I watched them all. My bag was on my lap. I held it tight. I did not want to lose it. I checked my ticket again. I checked the time again. The plane was not ready. I waited. I looked around. A man with glasses read a newspaper. A woman with a red scarf typed on her phone. A young boy ate a sandwich. Life moved in many small ways around me. I sat quietly. I felt both excited and nervous. My journey was not easy, but I had made it to the airport. That was a big step. I thought of my parents. I thought of my home. I felt a little sad, but I also felt strong. I was ready for this trip. I closed my eyes for a moment. I breathed slowly. I wanted to be calm. Suddenly I heard an announcement. A soft voice spoke from the speakers. It was about a different flight, but I listened carefully. I knew soon my flight would be called. I sat straight. My heart beat faster. I felt the moment was near. A group of travelers walked past me. They laughed together. They pulled big bags. I wondered where they were going. Maybe they were going on holiday. Maybe they were going home. Everyone had a story. Everyone had a reason. The airport was full of stories. I liked to think of them. It made me feel less alone. I held my passport again. I touched the cover. It was real. My name was inside. My photo was inside. This was my identity. This was my key. I felt proud. Time moved slowly. I checked the screen again. My flight was still not ready. I stood up and walked a little. I wanted to stretch my legs. I saw a shop nearby. It sold books and snacks. I walked inside. I looked at the books. Some books were about travel. Some books were about love. Some books were about learning English. I smiled. I thought of my own English. I had learned step by step. Now I was traveling with it. That felt nice. I picked up a bottle of water. I bought it. The man at the counter smiled. He said thank you. I said thank you too. His smile made me feel good. I walked back to my seat. I drank the water slowly. My mouth felt better. The air was dry inside the airport. Water helped. I looked at the people again. A family sat near me now. They spoke in another language. I did not understand, but their faces showed their feelings. They looked happy. The little girl held a teddy bear. She hugged it tight. I remembered my own childhood. I also had a small toy once. I missed it now, but I also smiled at the memory. Suddenly, the announcement came. It was my flight this time. The voice called the number. My heart jumped. I stood up quickly. I checked my bag. I checked my ticket. I walked toward the gate. Many people walked too. The line was long. I stood in the line. People talked. People checked their phones. Some people looked tired. Some people looked happy. I looked straight. I wanted to focus. The line moved slowly. Step by step, we went forward. I held my passport ready. My turn came. I gave my ticket. I gave my passport. The officer looked at me. He checked my documents. For a moment, I felt afraid. But then he smiled. He gave them back. He said thank you. I said thank you too. I walked forward. My heart was light now. I was almost on the plane. I walked through a long tunnel. The air was cool. My bag felt heavy, but my steps were strong. Soon I saw the door of the plane. A flight attendant smiled. She said welcome. I said thank you. I walked inside. The air inside the plane was different. It was a little warm. Many seats were there. People put their bags up. People sat down. I looked for my seat. It was near the window. I felt happy. I liked windows. I put my bag above. I sat down. The seat was soft. I touched the window. Outside, I saw the lights of the airport. The night was dark, but the airport was bright. I felt safe. The plane slowly filled. More people came in. They put bags. They looked for seats. Some smiled. Some looked tired. The flight attendants helped them. Soon the seats were full. The doors closed. A voice came from the speaker. The captain welcomed us. He said the flight would take some hours. He said the weather was good. I listened. I felt calm. The flight attendant showed safety rules. She moved her hands. She showed the belt. She showed the jacket. I watched. I understood. Soon the plane moved. It rolled slowly on the ground. My heart beat fast. I held the armrest. The plane moved faster. Then it lifted. My stomach felt strange. But I was also excited. The ground became small. The lights became small. The airport was far now. We were in the sky. I looked outside the window. Clouds moved near us. The sky was dark but beautiful. I smiled. I was flying. My journey had truly started. I leaned back in my seat. I closed my eyes for a moment. I thought of everything. The early morning, the road, the crowd, the waiting. And now the plane. It was all part of my story. I felt thankful. The flight attendants moved in the aisle. They gave food. They gave drinks. I took some juice. I drank it slowly. It was sweet. I ate a small snack too. It gave me energy. People around me talked softly. Some people read. Some people slept. I also closed my eyes. I wanted to rest. The sound of the plane was soft and steady. It was like a lullaby. I slowly fell asleep. In my dream, I saw the airport again. I saw the road again. I saw my home again. But this time, I was not afraid. This time, I was ready. My journey was big, but I was bigger. My heart was strong. My dream was strong. I slept with peace. Hours passed. When I opened my eyes, the flight was still moving. The sky outside was lighter now. The sun was rising. The clouds looked golden. I felt wonder. It was beautiful. A new day was starting. A new chapter was starting. I smiled. My journey was not over. It was still going. But I knew now I could do it. I had started. I had taken the steps. And I would not stop. The plane moved forward. My story moved forward. My heart moved forward. My journey to the airport had become a journey to life, and it was only the beginning.